Hello everyone, I'm Dak and this is Dak Chats, and welcome to a different style video than the last couple that we put out. What I'm wanting to do, and I'll just put you guys in the loop now. I want to try and be able to do live feed updates. That's what drew me into doing this in the first place. Now, I'm limited as to how much I can watch during the day because just of work. I try and listen when I can. When I'm doing stuff that doesn't require, that allows me to kind of listen as I'm going, but there's not a lot that I can get away with. So I've been trying to dedicate evenings to do it and listen in, and I've been kind of in a weird spot where I haven't been able to yet. But these last couple days I've really been trying to follow along. One of my favorite times on the feeds, one of my favorite days is Mondays after the POV ceremony. I do enjoy watching the fallout of whenever the veto is played, and a new nom has to be nominated. It's nice on Fridays too, watching the nominations, but I enjoy it a lot more on the Wednesday episode whenever there's gonna be a renom and we know it, and the renominated house guest isn't expecting it. I like watching the reaction to the fallout. So Mondays are always fun for me. The veto meeting days, usually on Mondays, are always fun for me for the feeds. So I try to start there. Albeit if you've watched any of the feeds or you've been keeping up with the feed updates, you know that it's not been the most celebrated time. As we mentioned in our last episode, there has been some controversy, and we're going to go over some of that tonight in this recap. So we're gonna pull through. We're gonna chug through. Let me just get this out of the way in case you haven't already picked it up. I'm gonna officially say there are live feed spoilers in this video. This is gonna be a live feed update, and I'm gonna try and catch up from yesterday. I tried to start watching, or when I tried to start watching yesterday, it was just a few minutes before they cut the feeds for the veto meeting. So I got just a little bit of conversations with Daniel and Paloma. And then it cut, and then I picked right back up to post-meeting. So we're going to jump right into it. That is what this type of video is. It's in the comment, or it's in the title description. It's going to be on the thumbnail, so you know what you're getting into going in. So there are spoilers in case you don't want that. We'll discuss all this again from the episode perspective tomorrow on Wednesday's episode. We're just going to hop right into the update. So when I started the feeds last night, the first thing I saw was Daniel and Paloma talking, and the main takeaway from that is, like a lot of Paloma's conversations, Daniel wasn't so much talking as he was laughing. And if he wasn't laughing, he wouldn't have been saying anything because she wouldn't have let him. She was talking about how she feels like she's the mother of the group, I think that's what she was saying, and that she couldn't take it anymore, and it was stressing her out. And so she said that she hadn't been eating, and just the night before, she had a cheese and mayo roll up or something. Cheese and mayo, that's it. And she loves mayo, but she can't stand it anymore. Or she's tired of it. So that cracked me up. But then the feed's cut after she's complaining, and Daniel's just trying to kind of help her calm down. The feed's cut, and when we come back, obviously Taylor had been nominated, and instantly the thing that I noticed is how quickly, how hard, and how aggressively she was being gaslit into believing that she was the one that did something wrong. So we didn't really talk about it on Sunday's episode. There's been a lot of stuff. If you're watching this video, then you're already intertwined with the feeds, most likely, and so you're already aware of a lot of the stuff that's been going on. All I'll say on this is this: it is obvious, it is clear that there's a lot of bullying going on towards Taylor, and she's completely unaware of it. She has no idea what's going on. Now, after she's nominated, people start coming to her because she has no idea. She's completely blindsided by it, and people start coming up to her and they're talking about how, and I didn't even catch what they were saying. Honestly, I did miss that part, but they were saying how she is now aware of the fact that she has bothered someone, that she's ruffled some feathers, and that now that she's aware of it and she's aware of the mistake she's made, now she can try and fix it and move on. And she is just sitting there very much upset, and trying to say, I never, her words, she keeps repeating, I never meant to upset anyone, I never meant to offend anyone, I never meant to do anything wrong. And again, she didn't do anything. All of this has come from Paloma and some Monty as well, and has pretty much fabricated all of the dislikes. You start getting into pretty much what was originally brought up was fabricated, and then they start creating scenarios like some of you have heard about the finale night dress. They told her, hey, you should wear your finale night dress, and then she did, and then they said, oh, look how cocky she is because she wore her finale night dress. Jasmine mentioned something to her about she should be a model, and Taylor says, well, I'm not a 00, so I can't be a model. And Jasmine took offense to that because Jasmine is a model, and she felt like she was calling her fat, or at least some people took it that way, and that's how it was turned around and turned into something different from what it was. So she is truly believing at this point that she did something wrong, and she's trying to apologize because she doesn't want to make anyone else feel uncomfortable, and she never wanted to. And it was really tough to watch. That's all I'll say about that. Again, I don't want to comment too much on the negative stuff, not because I want to ignore it, but because I feel like at this point there's really no point from a game perspective. There is definitely a chance that Taylor survives because we don't know what happens with the backstage twist, so we don't know. So there is a definite chance that she survives, and if she does, then this all becomes relevant, but it's not likely that that's going to happen. Very rarely do twists ever pan out to provide a huge change like that, or that big of an impact, and I don't see that happening. So I feel like at this point, I can give my opinions and express how terrible and disgusting it is, because it is, but it's almost over. And at this point, I want Taylor to go. She can tell. She can feel the tension. Even before she was nominated, she would go into a room full of people, they'd finish the conversation, they'd leave. And she knew that something was off. And she's been treated like the pariah from the beginning. And I think that what's best for her at this point is probably to just get out of there and save her. And it's sad and it's terrible that it came to that, but that's how it is. So I'm gonna move on. If something were to happen and she did stay, I am 1,000% rooting for her to win HOH. I think that would be amazing, and that would be something that literally the entire fandom would be rooting for collectively. So that would be awesome to see, but it's just not. I don't feel like it's very likely, unfortunately. But who knows? Anything can happen, and we still don't know nothing about this twist. And for all we know, production had a concept and they scrapped it, and they're adapting it to try and help it gain favor. I like to say that they don't normally do that. They say they don't. And I feel like sometimes it's been proven some fan favorites have bit the dust when all of fandom was calling for Grodner's head on a pitchfork. But it could happen, with the way that last season went and how, fantastic of an outcome that was, for so many people. I could definitely see them trying to not reverse that. So they might, and we'll find out Thursday, how that plays out. But if she does survive, I'm pulling for her, and we'll talk more about this because this will be a lot more interesting if that happens. So we'll see. Moving on from there, the other big takeaway from yesterday and today is that Paloma is starting to crack. She has been playing super hard, super fast from the very beginning, and she's burning out, and you can tell. Today, she has been, and she might have started talking about this yesterday, but today she's really been talking about the awareness simulation theory, and she's very much like, I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe she said that once she got in the house is when she first started to believe it. She didn't believe it until then, and now she believes it, and now she's very much concerned about it. She made a comment today about how she said we should all just band together and boycott, and just to verify that we're not in a simulation. She's been talking about that a lot. She's been really stressed, as we saw yesterday with her conversation with Daniel. And people are starting to notice it. Now, they talked a lot about it yesterday. Today, they said that they feel like she's calmed down a little bit. A conversation that we're going to get to in a minute between Monty, Aaliyah, and Michael, is that they mention, Michael says, we need to babysit her for bedtime because that's when she goes nuts. She won't stop, and she's just going and going and going. And I think that's a good takeaway. That it, she wakes up, she's groggy, but even then, I mean, you get her in conversation, and it's all about her, and everything is flipped back on her. And every time you turn the feeds on, she's in the room, she's the one talking. So I think that from a human narrative standpoint, I think she's young, and I think she's giving off a vibe that she's trying to push her narrative a lot. Most people are very, very tolerant of her so far. Like I said, last few days they've been starting to feel like she's been cracking, but it's almost more of their concern for her mental health. And that is something that has been going around a lot, especially today. Hamster Watch themselves even said they put out kind of a jokey tweet, and then right after they're like, you know what, I'm going to stop. This is starting to look like it might actually be affecting her mental health, and we don't want to have any issues with that or be minimizing that at all and making light of that situation. And there's been other people that have talked about that she kind of almost like Sam did in BB20, where everyone was concerned that Sam's got to go because she's going to have a full mental breakdown. It is becoming increasingly dangerously unhealthy for her mental health. And Paloma's nowhere near that, but it's starting to be concerning, and you can see that. So, like I said, people have been, some of the house guests, Monty and Kyle, were talking about it today, and like I said, Kyle initially brought it up, and then Monty said, yes, I agree 100%. She does seem like she's a little more chill today, and so they're just kind of hoping to keep that reeled in. Other than that, there's been some other conversations here or there. A lot of people have been noticing that Jasmine is a big force behind a lot of Paloma's talk. She's reinforcing it a lot, and she's also kind of imposing some of her ideas and what she's wanting onto her. So Jasmine's becoming more noticed by some people, and her effect on the game. And so that's something to take away from today too. Other than that, like we said, so one conversation that I took note of. Now, last night, Michael was sitting in the hammock, and he was just kind of talking to the cameras, and he was saying how he knows he's in a tricky spot. He mentions today that he feels like he's 2 days behind because when he was nominated for only 2 days, during those 2 days, no one wanted to talk to him because, and it's a fair point, who's going to want to talk to a person that most likely won't be here next week? Who wants to build alliances with that person? And that was really pointed out in 21 when people were making alliances with people that were already voted out and still in the House. And so it kind of has that same feel for people where it's like, especially after it was pointed out then, they probably, especially week one is literally 50-50. You have no idea. And especially the first couple days. Usually you don't really have much of an idea. So you're like, well, why would I make an alliance with someone that they might not be here? Why am I going to talk to that person? And because we see Terrence is a victim of that as well. He's been kind of stuck in that spot too, where it's like no one's really worked with him. He's gotten, I think initially he had a little bit more conversations and was able to set him up a little bit better than Michael did. Michael, it took longer, but once Michael pulled himself off, then he was able to kind of squeeze into the one group, the Mambas, which I think today they've had to rename. I think they decided to rename that. There's a whole thing about that I was hearing about names, and I think that's what that was tied to. But I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to touch base on that tomorrow. That whole group, Michael was able to weasel his way into it. And I say weasel, and not weasel, but he was able to work his way into it and was approached to join them in replace of Pooch. And reference back to him last night, he was talking and he said that he really has to gun for this HOH. He feels like he's got to get it because he's got to solidify, because he knows he's in with the 6th, but he knows that he's at the bottom. It's very obvious. They really haven't hit it at all. So he knows he's at the bottom of that group, and he said he actually wants to get closer to the girl side. So if he can get nominated, or if he can get HOH, his goal is to put up Pooch and Turner, and I think that's what he said. He wants to put up Turner and Pooch. And then fast forward today, Monty today was having a conversation with Aaliyah and Michael, and part of that conversation where they were talking about Paloma. But what he was saying was that he said their next week is obvious. It's already planned out. If they're able to get any one of those 5, not Michael, but if any one of those 5 that, excluding Michael, won HOH, then they would put up Indy and Brittany. Indy because she's not really, everyone loves her, but she's not playing the game, so she'd be easy to convince the house guests to vote out. She's just kind of waiting around. And Brittany because she shot herself in the foot. Now, what he's referring to that is earlier in this conversation, when he first started talking about Indy, he gestures to Aaliyah and says, wait, what was that going on with Brittany? What did she say? And it's from watching Amira talk about it. Amira says, Pooch came up to her and said that Brittany came up to him And basically Brittany was trying to get, she wants help. She wants people to cover her, and she wants him to look out for her if he has that ability as one of his backstage girls, as the backstage boss. She wanted him to protect her. And she said that if he did, she would give him information. And he said, well, what information is that? And she says, well, someone's been floating your name out there. And he said, well, who? And she says, guess. And so he starts listing off all the names. Again, this is what Amira is saying Pooch told her, okay? And Pooch said that he listed off all these names and no one came up, or she kept saying, nope, nope, guess again, nope, nope. And he finally says Aaliyah because according to Amira, according to Pooch, Amira was the last person he would have guessed to be coming after him. And Brittany acknowledges that. So Amira is done. Amira wants nothing to do with Brittany in this game. She says she'll keep talking to her and being friendly with her, but in this game she's dead. She doesn't have my vote, and she did it to herself. I would have voted with her. I wanted to work with her. I love Brittany, but she shouldn't have done that. And again, unfortunately I don't know if if that happened. I'm going to go back and I'm going to check. I know it's kind of a lackluster update. I can only halfway update, but I'm just giving you guys what I saw. It's the best I can do, and I hope you enjoy that and appreciate that. But I'm going to have to. I'll do some clarifying on tomorrow's episode. But yeah, so that's what Amir is saying. She doesn't want anything to do with Brittany, and she is ready to move on from her and get her out of there. So that's the plan. And then alternatively, Monty said to Michael, I don't believe he knew what Michael had already said his plan was last night when he was talking to himself over the cameras. I don't believe that was communicated to Monty, but Monty says, Pooch and Turner, I keep forgetting Turner's name. I keep forgetting it. But Pooch and Turner, they are going around to everyone, Pooch especially, making alliances with everyone, except Michael. And Michael, again, explains his reasoning. Well, I can't blame him for not doing that. But even after, they never came up to me. They never said anything. So Monty's like, that's great. If you win, that gives you a clear target. It's obvious because, and it's good in two ways, because for one, it's going to give you an excuse. Well, you guys didn't come up to me. You guys made deals with everyone in the house and you didn't make a deal with me. So if I'm the only one you're not going to make a deal with, then I'm putting you up. It's a very clear, definitive, easy reason for him to nominate him. And then it's also benefiting them because Monty says that if they get rid of Pooch, then they can cut the head off the snake of every other alliance, because Pooch keeps going to everyone else and forming all these alliances with everyone in the house, himself included and everyone included. Again, according to what Monty's saying. So Monty is tight with the 6. From what I can tell, it doesn't seem like he's interested in breaking from that. Him and Joe had a slight conversation later where they were talking about, we don't have to call an alliance, we can just say that, you cover me, I'll cover you, and he might be taking that, he sounded positive, but he's pretty locked in with the 6. So that's what I'm going to call him now, for now, until I figure out what the real name is. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for tonight. I'm going to attempt to try and put out at least one of these. Ideally, I want to do one of these every evening to post. I know that other updaters will do, most live feed updaters do it in the morning, and that's great, gets you to start your day. But later during the day, you might want to catch up from events earlier today that you weren't able to see. So kind of gives me a different perspective, gives you guys a different perspective give a little bit of a sneak preview for what the other updates are going to say tomorrow. The other updates that are far more detailed and more accurate and give more information than what I'm able to at the moment. But I'm just going to give it from my perspective, and I hope you guys like that and enjoy that. Also, let me know if this, I don't know if you guys noticed, this is a different mic. I'm trying this one out. So tell me if you like this one better, the other one better, sound quality wise. And then, I'm also, once I get set up to where I can, I'm going to be doing some live feed watch along. So just doing a live stream, and while I'm watching the feeds, and any of you guys that are watching that you want to chat and with someone while you're watching and stuff, I think that'd be real fun. So that's a goal of mine. I'm going to try and get that going and see what I need to get set up to do that. Do you guys like this angle? It's a different angle. It's more convenient for me because I have access to my computer and tablet and everything on my notes. The lighting isn't as good. I can tell it's off. I gotta find a way to fix that. I'm not quite sure what I'll do, but I can work around with that. Is the lighting too bad? I hope it wasn't too bad in this one, because like I said, it's a different bit of a shift. So, but yeah, guys, any feedback you have on any of that, drop it down below. Like I said, always open to more feedback and how we can improve and make this more entertaining for you guys. So tomorrow's Wednesday. We got veto episode and then live eviction. So we're gonna have 2 more videos coming up in the next couple days. So we'll see you guys tomorrow night, and have a great night.